What it do, everybody? Welcome to the Motor Stardom Show. It is June 30th, 2026, and boy, am I excited for this upcoming weekend of racing. We are returning to the Chicagoland Speedway for the first time since 2019. This means a lot to a lot of people within the industry who were there for the last weekend at Chicagoland Speedway in 2019, who have been going there for years. A lot of the drivers in the field, especially in the O'Reilly and ARCA series, that have never even touched Chicagoland Speedway over in Joliet. But for myself to get to go back to the racetrack this weekend, a track that the first ever track that I ever was able to go to when I was somewhere around 5 years of age. Um, to visit that racetrack and to be there and to experience my first NASCAR races in person certainly will be awesome to go back there. I don't remember too much about the speedway in my brain as far as the grounds obviously being so little, but certainly excited to get back there, excited to see what they have done to the racetrack as far as some renovations, whether interior or exterior. But I think the biggest thing we'll be looking forward to this weekend is the racing product. That track is going to be old, it's going to be aged, and the racing surely on Saturday will be exciting. And I think the next gen cars will put on a good show as well, and hopefully a nice ARCA show. Which I believe is under the lights on Friday night. So it should be an awesome weekend of racing. Let's bring in um, El Crew. Let's bring in Mason Maggio here to the room, who unfortunately will not be getting to have that fun in Chicagoland Speedway this weekend behind the driver's seat. But I'm sure you will be tuned in and locked in on this C dub watching the Saturday festivities go on. Just how excited are you for NASCAR for to be going back to this racetrack in Chicagoland?
Yeah, I mean it's super exciting, and I think obviously Chicagoland was one of the big ones that I feel like on the schedule for this year that people were excited to go to. I feel like it was San Diego and then Chicagoland. Realistically, I know the anticipation for Chicagoland has been big, and actually was rewatching a bunch of old races just because we haven't been there in so long. I'm like, man, how was the racing product? Is it as good as I remember? And lo and behold, it was it was really damn good. So excited to be back. Hopefully, this could be a permanent addition back to the schedule for all three series. That would be the goal. I'd love to see Trucks go back there as well. Trucks put on a good show there, and but yeah, super excited. Like you said, I feel like the next gen car has a good mile and a half product, so I feel like this is right in wheelhouse. Track's going to be definitely a lot older and a lot more slick, kind of like what we would see at probably a Homestead, if I had to guess. Just considering the lack of maintenance the track has had over the past 5 or 6 years. But super excited to see what the weekend holds for NASCAR and for Chicago, and hopefully, like I said, we can add this back to the schedule as something that we do more regularly.
Yeah, I hope so. I know there's chatter that we'll go back on the streets next year potentially. And while I wouldn't be too mad at that, I certainly hope we do stick to the Chicagoland Speedway. Hey, maybe even do both. Big Chicago guy here. Wouldn't mind going up there twice in a year, but we'll see what works out logistically for NASCAR and what they end up deciding to do. So, without further ado, last minute edition here. Let's bring in Chicago expert, Midwest expert. Kevin Sheevy here to give some analysis about Chicago, man. How you doing, boss?
I'm good. I'm good, thank you. Quite literally last minute, I think I texted you about 6:58 and I was like, "Hey, I'm not doing anything, if you want to, throw me a link or something." So, hey Mason,
Well, you're going to
surprise.
Chicago this weekend, right?
I am not. I
Uh,
am not. Sorry, that was really like I got very emotional, I think, about that. Yeah, born and I don't want to say raised there. I've lived in Charlotte for 20 years now, but um similar to you, I mean, I go back every year, try to go see family and everything. And I did have the opportunity to go to the last two street courses. That was awesome. So got to hang out with you and everything and kind of explore a little bit. Um I'm biased. I thought the street course was awesome. And to be quite honest, I've actually never been to Chicagoland. I was not a NASCAR fan when we moved from Chicago to Charlotte, and so I have no experience there. However, just given what we've seen, excuse me, recently, I definitely believe it's going to be a great show. So all 3 days between ARCA and O'Reilly and Cup, I think each car is going to play a different role in the weekend, but I'm excited nonetheless.
Yeah, it's going to be a spectacular weekend, and this I have been to the Chicagoland Speedway.
Oh
This was me
man.
back at I believe this is my first one or, or second one. I can't remember. But I was there. We were there. You can see the track, the pylon in the middle is will still be at the same place it will be or has been. I saw some people posting on TikTok working on the track. It looked like I was scrolling through, seeing some videos today, getting the infield grass painted and everything. So yeah, that was the last time that I was there. So that'll be really fun to go back. A nice homecoming for me. But as you mentioned, I mean, not only the homecoming, just like Mason was talking about as well, watching old races and seeing what the racing product was and how good it was. I mean, you can just look at this picture right here. Obviously, we are always very nostalgic about the 2014 rules package that we had, right? But this track was always, you were able to run wherever, very wide grooved, the very special back straightaway that is not straight. It is somewhat curved, so it's a unique track in very many rights. But Mason, a guy like yourself who has raced on abrasive mile and a halfs before in your time, you've seen, tracks that don't have too much tire wear. You've seen tracks that do have a lot of tire wear. What can you just assume, because everybody else kind of has to assume as well, besides the drivers that did the tire test there a few months back, what can you assume that these guys are going to be fighting all three series throughout the weekend as you go to a track with a lot of unknowns, but that there's probably going to be a lot of tire wear?
Yeah, I think you're going to kind of see a mix of like a homestead as far as with the tire wear, but you're also going to see a Kansas style race, right? With the multi grooves. That's something I really noticed when watching back the races, is the fact that every driver was using every single groove to try to get around each other in those packs that, like you mentioned in the photo from 2014. So I think you're going to kind of see that fine line. Like starts and restarts, short runs are going to be huge for guys to be able to get track position and be able to capitalize on that. So when their stuff does wear out, they're not having to fight on the long runs. That's something that we're going to probably see a lot of, is just guys really trying to get their car to handle good on the long runs. And I feel like guys that are going to have their cars handle good on the long run are going to be able to prevail in the end for stage points, as well as for potentially the win if we don't get a late race caution or restart or anything like that. So I think it'll be really interesting, and I'm really excited to see kind of that combo between a Kansas and Homestead kind of come together with the way Chicago land is. So excited to watch. Like you said, I wish I was a part of that, because it looks like a lot of fun whenever I watch those races back. But it is what it is. I'll be watching from my couch and be ready to go for Atlanta.
Yeah, for sure. Getting ready for Atlanta. We look back at the last time that we went to the Chicagoland Speedway. I'm pretty sure all of us were watching from our couches for this one, if we were watching it. Alex Bowman barely hanging on to that win over Kyle Larson. You look at potential favorites going into this weekend, you definitely think of Kyle Larson at this type of racetrack. But I mean, Kevin, do you think you can give the edge to people that have more experience at this racetrack, or do you think it's more of a toss up still?
Yeah, so it's funny. I'll be honest with you. I actually just got done hanging out with one of our other companions, Garrett Smithley. So I was over at the old classic SS Greenlight shop, kind of chatting with him a little bit about Chicagoland and everything. And excuse me, they were doing their podcast, and they pulled up an interesting fact that nearly half of the field, like you guys said, has not ran there. They have not ran it at Chicagoland. So I think in some cases, I mean, yeah, you could give the edge a little bit to some of the guys. But really where I'm looking at is the guys that have ran dirt. And that sounds kind of crazy, but I look at Obviously, Kyle Larson, like you mentioned a second ago, has a ton of experience on dirt. He's won, tons of World of Outlaws races and high limit races and everything under the sun. Um, I look at Tyler Reddick. I mean, the 45 car has just been unreal. I think that they're going to be a threat. But then I look at Ty Gibbs, someone that doesn't really have as much dirt experience, but just has that raw speed. Um, Carson Hocevar, I mean, again, he doesn't have as much dirt experience. He's new to it, but I think he's one that is just willing to lay it out on the line and go for it. And I think that he is going to be one of those guys that is searching around, trying to find a good groove. I think the earliest is going to be Larson. I think Larson's going to shoot right to the top and try to rip the fence as quickly as he can. Um, but to also mention, RJ, you were born in Chicago, or you haven't lived there full time, or
I was
what's
born
your
born in the TPA, so I've always been
okay,
here.
okay.
But all of my
So as
family, every single one of them from Chicago.
yeah, yeah. So as someone that's, was born there and went through a couple winters there and has been through winters, since then up there, um, the asphalt is completely worn. And I know we talked about that a little bit. It kind of reminds me, as y'all said as well, like the old Atlanta. Just I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but it's going to be a tire grader type of track. It's just going to eat them up really, really quickly. Um, so I almost look at like Denny Hamlin. I mean, Denny is one of the best at tire conservation. And so I think he's going to be able to play the strategy a little bit, kind of ride it out and get a feel for it. But we'll see. It's just those winters, those really cold winters, those hot summers wearing down on a track like that. Regardless, it's going to make for awesome action.
Yeah, the action is going to be awesome. You mentioned a lot of great names there that could be contenders. Denny Hamlin, you look at Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick. I think at a track like this, a traditional NASCAR mile and a half racetrack that still is going to be relatively new and fresh for a lot of people, I think those guys, your true contenders, will likely come out. But I think still leaves the field open for some wild cards. And we look at the point standings here and guys that want to be wild cards or those guys knocking at the door trying to get into the chase. We're coming off two road course races that certainly shook up the standings a lot. You have SVG, who probably not the gap he would have wanted. Obviously, he wanted to win San Diego, was unable to do so, but dominates Sonoma. Now he leaves there up plus 36. No more road courses this season. Is he going to be able to hang on to that? But some guys I'm looking to possibly make some noise at Chicagoland. I'll give you three names that are on the cut right now. Ryan Preece seems to have, consistent runs on those mile and a halves as well. RFK seems to find the speed. I'll double down and say his teammate, Brad Keselowski. I think he is certainly looking for a good day, a guy that has experience at Chicagoland Speedway. Maybe that will play into him being good there. And then Eric Jones. Eric Jones, people kind of, I guess, let off the gas pedal a little bit because we had the two road course races and he wasn't going to be dominant there. But we forget that this guy had an insane pretty solid month of May, a great month of June outside of the road courses, and now he comes into this final 8 race stretch here minus 12. I'd look for Eric Jones to have a big day. I know I just rifled off 3 there on this list as potential wild cards, Mason, but is there anyone else that kind of sticks out to you that you'd hopefully expect ideally to have a good day at Chicago that probably needs one?
I would say somebody like a Ross Chastain or a Joey Logano for sure. Definitely guys that are needing good days, and I feel like have been close. Ross, I think, more than Logano, but I mean, we've seen Logano be good at Chicagoland on a multitude of occasions, so I think that he could be a potential pick for that. Ross Chastain has a ton of experience there between Cup, Truck, and O'Reilly in the past. So maybe, taking some of his prior experience, being able to apply that and hopefully, put his team in a good position. So, but I would say Eric Jones would probably be one of my favorites to probably make it be on the cusp. He's been super good, super consistent lately. And I feel like he's knocking on the door more than I think a lot of people would realize. So, I think there's a couple of heavy hitters, but man, it's going to be close. A lot of these guys are super good and consistent and have been somewhat in the ballpark. It's just a matter of who's going to make it at the cusp at the end is what's really going to tell a whole story.
Yeah, it's like you don't think any of these guys at the edge of the cut line are completely going to fall out, but Ryan Preece, Austin Cindric, and SVG, just with his inexperience of these tracks coming up, certainly in danger. I'll be interested to see kind of what happens to SVG this weekend. It's, very refresher of a track for the people that had went there before, brand new track for people that hadn't been there but still learning his mile and a half. So I think this learning curve will be tough. I pulled up the weather report here from
Oh,
Chicagoland Speedway. We're looking on Saturday here, as I will expand this here real quick. Looking on Saturday, we are looking at some rain potentially in the morning, slight, and then it grows in chance as we get through the night. Currently, right now, Sunday looks like a pretty bleak chance. Don't think we'll get any rain, but Saturday is going to be the interesting day. There's going to be some weather potentially in the area, and it means a lot of things. Just Cup Series practice and qualifying get rained out. Do these guys not get time on the racetrack? And is the lineup set by metric? Is SVG going to be sitting on the pole going into that race on Sunday? And so I would really like to see practice and qualifying happen. I would certainly not like to see that get rained out, but I certainly think anything is possible when you have rain in the area. Um, and then Kevin, for you, we'll let you chime in here as far as any drivers that we haven't named. We've named definitely a handful on this bubble, but is there anybody else we haven't talked about that you're looking at that maybe is either in danger or somebody you're hoping kind of shortens their gap to the chase cut line per se?
yeah. I mean, I think right off the bat, Eric Jones is a guy that, like y'all just mentioned, he has the speed. And I think you could argue that Legacy Motor Club as a whole has taken a huge step forward. I don't want to spoil anything if we're going to get into it later, but there's a new part of ownership there with Legacy. The guy happens to be the mayor of Flavortown. I don't know if y'all saw that or not, if that's been made official, but if not, spoiling it there. I think it came out a couple days ago, but excuse me. I think they're investing in the right sources. So I think both Eric Jones and I would argue that John Hunter Nemechek, while not um, as high as Eric Jones in the points, I think he's still a dark horse to go out and go win potentially, and maybe make some noise kind of going into the last 8 races. But SVG, of course, I think he's one that everyone's like, oh, can he maintain the growth on the ovals? Is it going to die out? And especially going into a new track like this that he's never seen before. I think it will definitely be interesting. But yeah, those two guys are really the ones that I'm looking at. I would say Jones and SVG. Um, I don't remember how we ran on Kansas. I will say though, I mean, just watching the Charlotte race, I know Chicagoland and Charlotte are very different types of ovals. They're not the cookie cutter style. But SVG was great. I mean, he was running, I think top five, top eight most of the evening, until the last little bit, I believe. But um, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting regardless, and I'm excited to know that even though we're not having the old playoff format where you win and you're in, it'll be interesting coming down to the last race. Still, there should be some good points battles for that last couple spots.
Yeah, I think for SVG, and this is something that I've just noticed of him, especially this year, but not a great qualifier when it comes to
Mm-mm.
these newer tracks and tracks he's trying to learn. He's a big racer. All these races he's qualifying way towards the back. His average start is going to be way lower, or way higher, I should say, than his average finish because he's just able to make make lemonade out of lemons sometimes in these races. And so that stretch that he went on in May, where he had a fantastic race at Nashville, he had a fantastic run at Charlotte. Those were both races that qualifying was rained out, and he was able to use the metric to start inside the top 10. I believe Charlotte he started third, maybe. I can't even remember, but he started really high and just being up at the front. And I think not only having the track position, which is so important in this next gen car, he doesn't sink as much. He's able to defend pretty well, but also being able to learn from the drivers that he's racing around instead of trying to learn while he's racing guys for 27th, I think is certainly so much more valuable for him. So I'm sure he's honestly probably sitting there hoping that practice and qualifying gets rained out, scrap the, 50 minutes of or 20 minutes of time that I would get for practice. Just let me start out front and figure it out from there. So we'll see what happens with the rain. I do want to take a gander over here at the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series entry list. As Kevin mentioned, he was talking with Garrett Smithley, who will not be in the car. He will be in the war room, I'm sure, with Chase Holden cracking down the analytics.
Actually, take a look at
the 42.
RJ. I was gonna say, RJ, we got to take a further look at that entry list there.
Shit. Oh yeah, no, he's racing. Yeah, no, he's racing. He's in the show, guys. Garrett Smithley is driving this weekend in the 42 for Young's Motorsports. Yeah, did not look all the way down. Yeah, Cole Custer's in his normal car driving the 0 for SS Greenlight. But let's enlarge this here so I can look at it more clear. Garrett Smithley is in the 42 for his Young's Motorsports. So he will be crunching the numbers, but he will be doing it with the helmet on. So that will be awesome to see him out there. Teammates with Ryan Ellis. Love that guy. Tyler Tomasi, former guest on the show, be returning to the seat, driving the 53 for Joey Gase Motorsports. Austin Green is out of the seat for the second race this season, as he was replaced at Pocono, but then came back into the seat for the road courses. Now back out as Nick Sanchez steps into that number 87. Leland Honeyman still hanging strong in the 92. And then Dawson Cram will be back in the 47 for Mike Harmon Racing. That is a collaboration with Team Stange, everybody. Team Stange. They were a thing back in the day. I actually had many conversations with the owner of that team. I had not heard from him in a long time, but they're back.
They're here. They're ready to rock and roll.
Racing to run that race. So 38 cars, a full field for the O'Reilly race. And in my opinion, unbiased completely, I think this race will, let's be honest, boys, steal the show this weekend.
It'll be a banger per usual. Yeah. But let's not forget too, guys, as Kevin was talking about SS Greenlight Racing and Cole Custer, let's not forget the last time we were in Chicagoland, Cole Custer won in the O'Reilly series. So hard to argue that might be a good pick if you're a betting man. It'd be hard to not pick him.
Could be a good pick if you are a betting man, and sometimes people are betting men, and they may bet on Cole Custer. And that's a great segue here to this next graphic I want to put up, Mason. And if you are a betting person, this is completely unsponsored, unpaid for. Everybody, just remember to head to Underdog Sports, where you can bet on who the 2026 NASCAR Truck Series champion is or will be. Ty Dillon currently leads the odds at plus 113. Right behind him is Chris Wright at plus 144. So a tough battle there for the lead. Lane Riggs, he's there. He's in third, but I don't think anything's going to come up with that. Clearly, Ty Dillon is the favorite here with Chris Wright behind him. So everybody, go put the house on this.
Put the house on Ty Dillon. Put your rent on Ty Dillon.
You certainly
will. I'm taking out a second mortgage. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
I'm looking up on Underdog right now on my phone. They have taken down every bet. They have the Cup race winner bet up, but they took down their Futures Championships bet. And this is probably why, guys. Do not bet on this, please. You will lose your money. Ty Dillon is not running for the Craftsman Truck Series Championship. But I thought that was awesome. But what you can do is head to Motor Stardom or Downforce Danny and vote for the On the Dash Driver of the Week. This week was pretty simple. We had Shane Van Gisbergen, who won both races, right? He won the O'Reilly race, and then he put him on the dash to hang on and hold off Chase Briscoe to win the Cup Series race. So sweeping the weekend for him. And then we needed two other options to throw in there. Alex Bowman, how about him getting the upset on Tyler Reddick, second year in a row of the in-season tournament that the number 32 seed knocks off the 1 seed. Reddick had some troubles. Bowman capitalized, and it wasn't just a fluke. It was a solid top 10 day for him in the 48 for Hendrick Motorsports. And then the third option, you can also vote for Austin Green, who went completely full throttle into the tire barriers, absolutely destroyed his car and the wall. That car is done. And they brought out the backup car, and then he put him on the dash, drove that to 12th, and certainly was happy with that finish. Definitely a big shout out to NASCAR safety, because that was a big ass hit, as you can see with the aftermath here. The wall broke. We've broken a lot of walls lately in all of our races, it seems. We broke the Michigan wall. We broke every wall possible at San Diego, but that was kind of expected. Those are temporary. And then we absolutely destroyed the Turn 11 wall in O'Reilly Series practice. So shout out to NASCAR safety for not having this be worse, because that did not look fun. But go vote on the dash. I don't know who's leading right now, but I think it is SVG. This could be our next talking point, talking about SVG. Always good for some good sound bites. I saw somebody comment, and I've been thinking this for a while, that I want to see SVG like in the CW booth. I think that would be like a fantastic time for a race. I mean, this guy always has awesome sound bites, and he, and I quote, said there were shit boxes all in front, wobbling all over the track when he was coming to the finish there, trying to hold off Chase Briscoe. Would you guys like to see SVG in a booth
I
sometime?
think that'd be a great opportunity. I mean, I think we can all agree SVG has been great with the one-liners, 100%. So I'd be all for it. I think it'd be great. And it would be fitting if we had him commentating on a road course, because I feel like he would just come up with something right off the bat. I mean, between that and then the hot lap, which is iconic on Twitter and other platforms. So I'm all for it. I'd love for that to happen. I think it'd be great. Or if SVG, if driving didn't work out in the long haul, he could always do stand up, because he's great. I think he'd be good at that too.
He could. I could see it. How about
Yeah,
you,
I
Kevin?
think seeing him in the booth sometime would be really cool. I mean, I've never really had a one-on-one conversation with SVG. I've overheard just kind of standing, ironically at the street course in the background. And I think at one point before the O'Reilly race last year, he was like, "Yeah, my car's, junk, if you will." But then he kind of looked around and he was like, "Yeah." He kind of shrugged it off and was like, "Oh well." And I just think kind of having that um persona would be good for, especially like you said, the CW booth where um I mean, it's already great. I think everyone on there is, got a world of talent, but it would just add to it. Um I think also having a driver insight, someone of his caliber would bring a lot of interesting points to a race, especially with like an onboard camera where he could explain, yeah, this is what this guy is doing, and this is what I do. Again, not to give away his secrets, but to say, yeah, this is what I do of sorts or something, and that's why I'm 15 seconds faster than the rest of the field.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I just read a tweet: SVG to the 48 in 2027. Oh gosh, that would not happen.
Oof.
Anywho, yeah, SVG I think is awesome for the sport. I've always talked about how I love his story and can't wait to continue to see him do great things and hopefully keep improving on ovals. On the flip side, no, Gregson's pissed. That Ford team has not had a very good stretch as of late. Unsure of what that team exactly will look like next year. But, Noah Gregson is a guy that we've seen, especially at the O'Reilly level. He's had talent, he's had speed, he's been able to win races. And now, just at the Cup Series level, whether it's the next gen car, just the teams, we know he was with the dying Stewart Haas Racing. Now with a Front Row Motorsports, that seemingly that Fork team is certainly trying to find their feet. Mason, what do you kind of make of this situation? And obviously, just when you are fighting back in for 34th, right? I want to say we've all been there, but me and Kevin don't drive. So you've been there. Fighting your ass off for 34th because your car just stinks. What that feeling, what is that like? And, what is the frustration like do you feel in the four camp right now?
Yeah, I mean, like I say it all the time, right? I'd say like 95% of the guys that have come through all the levels, whether that's truck, Xfinity, or excuse me, O'Reilly, and Cup, are all really good, right? I think everybody knows that Noah Gragson is a very talented race car driver. He showed it in the truck series. He's shown it in O'Reilly's. Cup is just super tough right now. And then on top of that, like it blows my mind the amount of people that are like, oh, Noah doesn't have talent. Oh, Noah doesn't have it anymore. There's no drive. There's no motivation. It's like, no, it's all still there. It's just really tough to put these races together. And there's nothing that stinks more as a race car driver than when you're battling your tail off and you realize, oh crap, it's only for 30 seconds, and it's like, well, dang, you know. But I mean, it's tough, right? Noah's had a really tough go with Front Row Motorsports as a whole. I know we've brought it up on the show how last year in their first season together, it wasn't what they wanted, and I know that they were wanting a lot more, and seemingly it's not been much better this year whatsoever. So, it's been a tough season, and when you're at some point, it does get to a boiling point, like we see in Jeff Gluck's tweet. Uh, it's tough, man. It's so tough being on that end and knowing that you and your team, you're doing everything possible to try to get the best result that you can and continue to improve. And when that work doesn't pay off, it's super frustrating. It brings out some emotions that you wouldn't normally bring out. So, and obviously we saw that in on Gregson's radio. So it's tough, and we know Noah's a great race car driver. We know Front Row Motorsports is a great team as a whole, but it's just been on the struggle bus lately with Noah and that four camp. So hopefully they can turn it around. We know that Noah has the talent. We know that Front Row Motorsports has the capability to be competitive, but it's definitely been a rough stretch for that whole organization for sure for the four team.
Yeah, talk about strays getting caught by the 51 team, man. I mean, SVG just letting him have it in the post race interview. No Gregson, not happy on his radio. Everybody was everybody's pretty pissed off when it comes to road course races. Last of the year, still really hard for me to get my mind around. Honestly, Kevin, that we have no more road courses left this year. We talked about this a few times on the show that we usually would have the Roval in the fall. And yes, the Charlotte Oval is great, provides great racing, but I like the Roval. We like the Roval. I don't know if we've heard your opinion on the Roval, Kevin, but first I'll ask you is do you think it's a weird thing to be in June? We are halfway basically through the NASCAR season and there's no more road courses.
Yeah, I think it's gonna take some getting used to. Um, thinking I don't want to say the old days because that would date, back to I'd say the 70s or the 80s, but I would say, okay, for example, like the Car of Tomorrow era, mid to late 2000s. Um, excuse me. By the way, I apologize, guys. I'm getting over pneumonia, so that's why I'm coughing. My apologies. But we had Watkins Glen and Sonoma. We had Watkins Glen and Sonoma, and now we've got, Watkins Glen, Sonoma, straight course. Last year we had Mexico. That was cool. Um, we've got, we went to the Daytona road course. Um, we've got Coda for right now. And so I think when we look at the schedule, we were so used to going from like two road courses and all of a sudden there were six or seven of them on the schedule. And, when I think about it, it's like, well, it is what it is. I liked the Roval. My first year ever seeing the Roval was ironically 20. Well, no, sorry, I did go the first year. But my most memorable year was 2020. I was one of the few in the grandstands when the monsoon hit. And then we had the IMSA cars on track. I thought that was cool. But
For the Xfinity
yes,
race.
yes, sorry, yeah, for the Xfinity
Oh,
race,
dude, that was the greatest race ever.
that was a wild time to be alive. Um, but
Oh,
yeah, I think that overall, I mean, I'm not gonna miss the Roval a lot. I do like the oval more. I think it provides more racing. I don't want to say more racing. Okay, that's not the best way to put it. Um, Closer racing, if you will, I guess you could say. But on the flip side, I would love to see a new road course come on on the schedule, like Lime Rock. I think Lime Rock Park with ARCA and trucks going there. I think that was awesome. Or earlier this year, down in your backyard, St. Pete. I think going to the St.
oh
Pete
yeah.
Street Course, doing an IndyCar crossover would be. I mean, that would pay dividends right there. But yeah, Mason. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Roval, and obviously I got to experience it last year in the truck, and it was
Mhm.
everything that I had practiced on iRacing and everything that I expected, right? So I personally enjoy both. I've driven both, and I something that I've really liked, and I wish we did more often for the schedule is, when we have tried the road course variants of certain oval racetracks like Charlotte, like Indianapolis and Daytona as well. I would love to try to do something where we can have it split to where we could do an oval at one point in the season, and then we do the road course version of it at some point in another season, part of the season. But I loved it. It was always something cool, just being able to go to the racetrack and go into these different parts of the racetrack in the infield portions and
Mhm.
see, certain corners or certain braking zones. I always thought that was really cool. But, at the same time, you can't beat the oval, right? That's just history and at its finest. But I would love to see that split in schedule at some point. But I've always loved the Roval. I hope it comes back at some point, but uh, to be honest, there's no telling whether it comes back or doesn't. So time will tell.
Yeah, hopefully we get another Roval, man. Like even if we don't have to do the Charlotte Roval, like
Is it true that
I don't know.
Pocono?
I don't know what else we could turn into a
Is it
Roval.
true that
What was
Pocono
that?
has an infield road course?
Something
That
I
would be
heard. Yeah.
cool.
They got something. They got something. They race. They actually, according to the schedule I just looked at the other day, they race Champ Car
Oh,
there. Champ Car
Wow.
heads to Pocono
okay.
for the road course. So that is in fact a race on the schedule. I don't know how they can
Mhm.
all afford to go up there, but they can. Um, but anywho, Auto Club had a
Yeah.
Roval. I think I tried
Yeah.
that on iRacing one time. Texas has a road course or Roval, technologically speaking. Kansas, I believe, has a
Hmm.
Roval as well. Tracks that you never thought have a road. Iowa has like a Legends road course or something. It's on iRacing. New Hampshire has a road course. A lot of
Yes.
people know
Hmm.
that one. I think I'm going to make a mini series on iRacing, and we're going to call it the Roval League. We're just going to run Rovals. It's going to be the
A
whole
bunch of
schedule. But then the finale will be at Talladega.
a bunch of
Level up the playing field. I
obscure.
And then
got you.
we'll,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll do Rovals all year, and then the finale is going to be at Talladega. And it's going to be a 32 person chase, and it's just one race.
Love it.
So we'll see how that goes. But anywho, all this Roval talk definitely has me excited for more Roval in the future. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. A couple shout outs before we go into the final segments of our show here. Got to give a shout out here to good friend of a lot of us, Sally Mott. Got a partnership with Mott's. That is the top five greatest sponsorship combinations I've ever seen in my lifetime. This is like Cole Custard teaming up with Andy's. This is like Anthony Alfredo teaming up with Olive Garden. Um, we got Sally Mott teaming up with Mott's here, and so this is awesome. Awesome for her. Obviously, if you understand the sponsorship model of our sport, it's this stuff's hard to come across from. Um, so to get a sponsorship of this level for somebody up and coming in stock car racing, she's getting her experience this year running late models across the Carolinas and beyond. So excited to see what she can do with the Mott's partnership. um, on board with her whatever car she decides to drive. But anywho, boys, man, there's not much else to preview this weekend as far as Chicago, other than just straight excitement. Honestly, it's one of the only races that we go into this year, besides San Diego as well, where we don't have any previous years really to look off of, to base off of. We can watch Xfinity races from 7+ years ago to since the similar car is still being run. But I don't know. I'm just hyped. I'm thrilled. I hope this sticks around. I hope the fans show out. That's one thing. No, Kevin will not be there, unfortunately, unless a late minute miracle happens. See, we know with this guy might buy a flight on Saturday night, but there's certainly. I hope the fans show out. I hope the place is packed out. I hope the infield's packed out. And if there's not already a party, I'm going to make sure there is a party. We're going to have a great time. Motor Stardom will be on the grounds at Chicagoland Speedway, and I hope to cover one of the best weekends of the year. Really hard to top San Diego. I mean, you really can't. I mean, that thing just looked freaking awesome. But as far as like traditional NASCAR races, I'm hoping this will be one of the best. But as far as, gosh, I mean, we talked about our people that we are, maybe our favorites for the weekend. Let's go ahead and do a little round robin here of race picks. Let's start with the O'Reilly race on Saturday, and let's start with Kevin. What do you got?
O'Reilly race.
You got to pick a race winner.
I like. We go. This might not be super super popular, but give me Brandon Jones. Give me Brandon Jones. He's been good at Kansas before. He's won at least one race there, and Kansas, as we talked about much earlier when I was with Garrett and Chase, that's probably the closest track that you can compare it to. And so I think, like we talked about on here, tire wear is going to be a little bit of an issue. I don't know how he's going to be able to handle that. But yeah, give me Brandon Jones. And if not, I'm gonna go with the bias pick. I would love to see SS Greenlight get the win with Cole. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the underdog pick for sure would be Custer, just because of the fact that he has won there before in the O'Reilly car, which was back then the Xfinity car. So it's hard to argue, but I mean, man, you gotta throw Justin Allgaier into the equation. I mean, it's hard not to, right? I mean, Justin's by far one of the best O'Reilly Series drivers that we've seen in a long time, and obviously Junior Motorsports as a whole has been on an absolute tear this year, just winning races with a little bit of anybody that's been in the race cars, whether it's Justin, Connor, SVG. I mean, you name it, they're up in the mix. So I think I'll throw in Allgaier and kind of a biased opinion, just because we love the folks over at SS Greenlight. Would love to see them get a win with Cole Custer. I think that'd be pretty cool too.
Give me Sheldon Creed. I think Sheldon Creed's going to win this weekend.
That's actually not a bad pick. Didn't he win a truck race there with GMS?
I don't know what he did in a truck race there, but I look at this. I look at this 1.5-mile racetrack. I look at the consistent speed out of the 00 this year, and Sheldon Creed, famously, right, second, third place guy, got that win at Atlanta earlier in the year. But he's always been that next guy. A lot of the races this year, Justin Allgaier's dominated. Okay, he's the next guy. Even had some speed on the road courses. I'm looking at Sheldon Creed to get that win. Easy pick, definitely Justin Allgaier. And if I had to complete a big three here, you guys threw Cole Custer in. I'm obviously going to root for him. I think he's going to do well. But why not Carson Quapple? I want to throw Carson Quapple in there as well. You talk about a track where you're going to have to save a lot of tire. That's a guy that has a lot of experience doing that. And certainly racing with a chip on his shoulder, or at least angry vibes on his shoulder, after he seemed like he put himself in position to win at San Diego. And then he basically was wiped out pretty much. So I think it would be perfect for him to rebound. I'm iffy on betting on the 9 team, though, I will say. But my overall race pick will be Sheldon Creed. But somebody to watch on this list, even underdogs that are going to be looking for good finishes. Blaine Perkins has had a really stout year in that 31. They've been some great speed out of them compared to years past. It's been good to see him be able to run in the top 15, even top 10 on occasion, using some strategy to get there at times, but maintaining it. This race screams Brennan Poole top 20 for sure. Brennan Poole easy top 20 this weekend, and then we can't be shouting out good runs and good performances without shouting out Viking Motorsports, as a lot of people have done the last few weeks, but we're going to quadruple down on that. Anthony Alfredo and Parker Retzloff, we already know, very talented race car drivers. Viking Motorsports has invested a lot into their program, and it is certainly paying off. They're doing very well this season, so very exciting to see them do the things that they are doing. Now, let's go over to the Cup Series race. It's the big main event on Sunday, the Eero 400, I believe we are calling it, the day after 4th of July, the 5th of July. Who do we got in the Cup race? Kevin, you go first.
That's tough. Sorry, I'm just looking at the entry list.
He's going JJ Yaley.
How'd you know? Okay, so I have a dark horse. I don't know if we're allowed to do that. I did it for O'Reilly. My dark horse, Corey Heim, is going to win his second Cup race in the past 3 starts.
Baby.
Or past,
Wow.
well, no, back-to-back starts, actually.
That's true.
I know that's a long shot, but I think Corey has had speed. And again, that's my dark horse. He's still young. He's still figuring this car out. He had some things go his way properly at San Diego that played into his favor. Overall, give me Denny Hamlin. I think he's gonna get it done. I think the tire wear aspect of it is just gonna play right into his wheelhouse. And it's gonna be the 11 car out front, that big P on the hood, gonna be going across the finish line first. The progressive car.
Yeah.
Who you got, Mason?
Man, I'm right now. I'm kind of debating between 3 guys. Is where I'm really debating. I'm debating between Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell. I'm really debating between the 3. That because there's something that all 3 of them have in common, and we've seen it with the way that they've raced in their experiences at Chicagoland. Kevin mentioned earlier, you gotta argue the dirt guys are really good at Chicagoland when it comes to saving the tires and also ripping the fence. And I put Kyle Larson in that category of guys that can just absolutely shred the fence. Tyler Reddick has started to become that guy. Christopher Bell is really good. I remember him watching the Xfinity race from years ago, and he was in the mix for that as well. So I'm kind of caught up between the 3. But if I had to go with one, I think Kyle Larson is the guy that's going to be really hard to beat. Last time he was there, he almost won, and Alex Bowman got it, but he was right there. So give me Kyle Larson. He gets his redemption from Chicagoland from 2019.
I like it. My pick.
Good pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to roll. No, I'm not going with Kyle Larson. I'm gonna go Ryan Blaney. I think Ryan Blaney wins this race at Chicagoland. I've had a sudden change of thought. I think of long runs. I think of tire wear. I think of Ryan Blaney. I think he is the best long driver in the best long run driver in NASCAR. I think Ryan Blaney is the best long run driver in NASCAR. I've said that for years. I think he's one of the best drivers in NASCAR, 100% debatably. But I think as far as long runs and extensive runs, that 12 car always finds his way to the front. He always finds his way to be faster than everybody else at the end of a run. So give me Ryan Blaney to win this race. I think Kyle Larson will certainly be competitive. I think the 2311 cars, like you mentioned, Mason, you mentioned Tyler Reddick. I think Bubba Wallace, someone to watch out for as well. Like Kevin mentioned, maybe we watch out for Corey Heim as well. Everybody's somewhat of an even playing field here, just like not just like San Diego, but kind of like San Diego. And I gotta watch Eric Jones, man. Last non-road course, JHN was fourth, and Eric Jones was sixth, I believe, was their finishing result. Eric Jones has had a fire 2 months outside of the road courses. I think Eric Jones is a definite top 5 candidate as we roll into Chicagoland. So, but again, that's just the fun part about going into weekend with not a lot of notes, from the previous year. San Diego, we just didn't know. Yeah, we knew SVG was going to be good, but if SVG gets wiped out, who's got it? And we certainly got to watch that unfold. The O'Reilly race, it kind of was anybody's game as well. We knew Brent Cruz was the favorite. Brent Cruz, as his race ended, practically race winning chances ended, and anybody's game. So now we go to a mile and a half. There's no true favorite. There's guys that you can look at, but there's so many of them. Like, I mean, even Mason giving his picks. I'm looking at Hammer, Reddick, Larson. Hey, it could be any one of those. It could be anybody behind him. It could be Eric Jones. It could be Cole Custer in the O'Reilly race for SS Greenlight Racing. What a big story that would be. Second victory he would be getting for SS Greenlight Racing. And that's a guy who I believe, what was it, Kansas got a top 8? Was it 8th they ran?
Yeah, it was 8th place finish in Kansas.
That's that right. Race, and then he's got multiple top 10s in the 0 this year, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, I think he's got a couple, and
I think he just got
the
one
biggest the biggest point to that, and as Garrett will point out, and he's very vocal, is that every time Cole is in the car, they haven't been able to qualify or really practice. It's either rained or they've had an issue. We were all there at Charlotte. In Charlotte, it was like, yeah, they really had no time before the race, and he went out there and was keeping up pretty good, had a good run going, and I think he got involved in something a little bit, but we'll see.
We will see. We will see. So it's going to be a fun weekend in Chicagoland. Looking forward to all the action. We have an ARCA race on Friday night. Specifically unsure of the time on that, but we know the O'Reilly Series racing is going to be happening this weekend. Practice is Friday. Ooh, we get separate. That's right. Separate practice and qualifying sessions this week. Oh, we got a full Fast Friday. Oh, I didn't even know. I'm going this weekend. Baby, Fast Friday is back. We got O'Reilly Series practice 4:30 on Friday, followed by Cup Series practice 6 o'clock at night. That will be on True TV. Then on Saturday, the O'Reilly Series will qualify at 1:30. The Cup Series will qualify at 3 o'clock. And then at 5:30, racing into the sunset, the O'Reilly Series takes the green at 5:30. And then on Sunday, for our little summer stretch of night races here, we kick it off with Chicagoland, a 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern start time for the Cup Series race at Chicagoland. And as I yap about this, I'm trying to locate the time of the Chicagoland ARCA race. It will be 8 p.m. Eastern. Oh my goodness. ARCA night in America on a track bigger than 0.225 miles. Been a while since we've had a real true ARCA night in America. What a way to kick off Chicagoland weekend with ARCA night in America. Wow. I don't think we've had really any other ARCA night races this year that have been on like a traditional NASCAR racetrack. Yeah, no, this is the first one. This is the first true ARCA night in America.
I'm going to go out on a limb here.
I know they raced at Elko last week, but that doesn't count.
I have not looked at the entry list, but I want to
go the ARCA race.
Yeah, I want to say
stacked.
This is a good friend, so a little bias here. I think Lainey Bice in that 77 with PRG. I think she's going to finish top 3.
Yeah, she's been killing it this year. Awesome qualifying efforts for them in that team, and being able to be good on the long runs as well. I think was Kansas where she qualified front row, I believe.
Kansas, she was on the pole. Or Pocono.
Pocono, she qualified on the pole. I remember that pretty vividly.
Yeah, we got a lot of great drivers. The ARCA Series is always interesting. It's always going to be a meme, no matter what, right? But we do have a lot of great up-and-coming drivers in that sport. Kyle Steckley driving that 2-car. We know Matt DiBenedetto, I've learned, is his driver coach, I believe, on the weekends when he's racing. So that's pretty cool there. Jade Avedizian has wowed many this year. I think she's going to be great in years to come here in NASCAR. Jake Bowman is the current ARC Menard Series points leader, driving the 20 for Venturini. He's trying to hang on to that. Isabella Robusto as well always continues to impress in the 55 for Nitro Motorsports. Thomas Annunziata chasing that championship as well, trying to get it from his teammate. And then just like you mentioned, Laney Bice, Jason Kitzmiller's racing. Shout out Jason Kitzmiller. Landon Huffman's driving the 9 car. The other Landon Huffman, I think. Yeah,
Landon S. Huffman,
Yeah,
he had a good run at Elko.
Here, but I believe that, it's Landon S. Huffman.
Yeah.
But
he had a good run at Elko and then got a little roughed up there.
Got a little roughed up, as one does. As one does at short tracks. But anywho, we're excited for Chicago, everybody. Thank you as always for tuning in to the Motor Stardom show. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
That's okay. He'll be there in spirit, and I'm sure if the street race returns, he's going to make sure he's there for that one.
I had prior commitments, and I'm like, okay. Not ideal. But Atlanta, I will be at Atlanta. We are going to have a good time in Atlanta.
I may be in ATL as well. I have no idea, but
all right,
I will find out in about 2 days if I will be there. We'll see, but I will be in Chicagoland. Excited. Big weekend for Motor Stardom. We are on the grounds. Got a couple people on the grounds. I think hopefully this will be the best Motor Stardom week in Motor Stardom history. I will be taking everybody through everything in Chicago. Like, I will be putting everybody on game. Food, attractions, good times, and boy, best you believe when we get to Joliet, Chicagoland Speedway, we're going to be living it up, having a great time, talking to great people. Me and Downforce Danny going to collab, going to meet up, talk some stuff. It's going to be a great weekend in Joliet. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you all next week to recap Chicagoland Speedway and look ahead for the rest of this NASCAR summer on TNT. See ya!
Yo!
Yo! Oh!